G, I'm being real with you, bro. G, I'm being real with you, bro. I ain't put my hands on him. I'm telling him at the end of the day, bro, that's the way it's gonna lead to, because I just came out here for no reason and my back against the wall.
It's politics.
Bro, you see where the fuck you at?
Yeah.
You're in a fucking virtual office. You in a virtual office. This is what this is. That's all this is. One person staff. You telling me I just told you I'm on.
Alright, so boom, what's up you guys? Welcome to our first YouTube video, and on this video specifically, we're going to focus on how you can make $100,000 in 6 months, because that's what someone asked me to do, and I'm going to let you guys know transparently, $100,000 in revenue is not the hardest thing in the world. Before we get started, I got to give y'all the disclosures. So first and foremost, the disclosures. If you hang around me too long, I may make you quit your job and decide that renting out cars is something that you never knew you wanted to pursue. Anyway, jumping into the video, make sure you guys stick around, because at the end of this, I'm gonna do a story time, more so specifically about the time my father threw me under the bus.
No, it's no real problem with just speak with Malcolm, because I guess he called you. He's in the back. Malcolm. Yeah. You go ahead. Okay.
At the end of every video, I'm gonna give you guys a story time. I'm gonna try my best to keep the story time something that I've never spoken about on TikTok, so it's gonna be pretty interesting, especially because I got a lot of videos to go along with them. So with the disclosures, right, I want you guys to know that anything I show you on this page is not to try to make anyone look bad, it's not to attack any specific person, but it's more so unfiltered, raw material. Like, I have videos that, from customer interactions, from family interactions, from anything that you guys may find very funny, but it's also educational. So anything I show you guys is going to be meant for the educational standpoint. So first and foremost, let's jump into the video, you guys. So $100,000 in a car rental company, whether you're trying to decide if you want to start on Turo or you want to start on private rentals, I recommend you start on Turo. I always recommend that anyone that wants to start a business, they start on Turo, more so specifically because of the protections that you get from renting your cars out on Turo. Now, me personally, I don't recommend you stay on Turo. I don't like the idea of staying on Turo because you can make so much more money. So first and foremost, let's talk about Turo. If you want to start a car rental business, you can make $100,000 on Turo. It is very well doable, but it is very much so, I guess I want to say, you're putting in too much effort to make so much little. And I just feel like when you rent cars on Turo, it's the same as just having a boss over you. You know, they kind of tell you things like, you got to watch your metrics, and yeah, customer service is important, but my experience with Turo was I got a lot of customers that they use the algorithm, they use the Turo system against me to, I guess, try to get me to do things that I wouldn't normally do. I'm gonna give you guys an example. I had a customer on Turo before, and she booked the rental, right? When you book a car on Turo, you could do one of two things. You could book the rental to pick it up from the home location, or you could book the rental to have it delivered. She booked the rental for the home location, which was 30 minutes away from the airport, and then she proceeded to text me after the booking and said, hey, I actually need to have the car dropped off to the airport. I see that it's a service that you offer. Now, to the next person that's not thinking about it, it may seem like a common mistake, and you know, in certain situations, it can be a common mistake. But that's an extra charge. We charged at the time, I believe it was $50 to have the car dropped off to the airport. A lot of the times what the customers will do is they'll book the car and they'll specifically say they want to pick it up from the home location, but they know they want it delivered. They'll text you to try to avoid having to pay that delivery fee. So then what they'll say to you is, well, they won't directly say it, but they'll find ways to dance around, well, if you can't have the car delivered, this is bad customer service. They give you a bad review, or they can even do the other thing of just mention something mechanically was wrong with the car. Turo will then take your car off of the platform until you take it to a mechanic, get it looked at. You have to have paperwork filled out, and it's all ways to try to make you lose money. In the beginning with Turo, I felt like it was a very oriented platform to help you make money. It was a good way for people to really get out of the 9-to-5 to make a lot of money. But now, in my personal opinion, I feel as though Turo has shifted to a place where they're more customer oriented. They're not host oriented. So for them, from the business standpoint, why do they need your car if they have 20 other people that are trying to list their car today and they have all of these customers? They're more so going to care about the customer than they are going to care about the host. So for me, when I'm teaching people how to start car rental companies, I want you to start with Turo, right? This is step number one that you need to do. You need to get a car. To get your car, it's not going to be the hardest thing in the world. You can get a car yourself. I know you guys be thinking you have bad credit. I promise you. I used to be a car salesman. I've seen people with scores low as 400 get approved for cars. They leave with the car 0 down. It's the interest rate that ends up killing them, but we'll talk about that in another video. But it's not hard to get a car. So your step one is going to be to get a car. Once you get this car, you can get it by multiple ways. You can do joint ventures where you manage other people's cars. You could get joint venture could even be your family, by the way. So I know a lot of the times people tell me things like, oh, but Malcolm, I don't have a social media platform. I'm not big on social media. I did not get my first joint venture just because I had TikTok. I got my first joint venture because I knew how to go on Facebook Marketplace. I knew how to go talk to people and tell them like, hey, listen, you're trying to sell this car for $5K, but what if I told you you could make $5K in 5 months, and then after the 5 months, you could still be making money and you could own ownership of the car, and if you don't like it, then you can still sell the car. There are ways to approach people to go about obtaining cars. So number one, I want you to write down, your first step is going to be to get a vehicle. You could get this vehicle, and then after the number one, I want you to put the subsections, right? So number one is get the car, but number two is, well, not number two, the subsection of number one is how can I get this car? So joint venture will be number one, right? With the joint ventures, it could be a stranger, it could be a family member, it could be your homegirl, it could be your homegirl. And you guys know I'm big on what are the people in your circle doing for you. If I have a friend and you can't do nothing for me, I'm sorry. I'm at a place in my life where I'm ready to grow, I'm ready to do more things. If you can't help me in any way, shape, or form, I don't know what we're doing here, because I know what I bring to a table, I know what I do for a person. I gotta start reevaluating these friendships. Number two, you could go the route of financing a car. Financing a car could be tricky because if you mess up with financing the car, you could actually set yourself up to fail. It's really important to understand how the interest rates work with the cars. It's really important to understand like what you're actually going to be paying for this car. If you finance a car for $20,000 with 5% interest rate, you're not paying $20,000 for the car. You're paying $20,000 plus the 5% interest for however long you decide to keep this car loan. The third thing you could do is, people always ask me if you can lease a car to rent out a car. You can lease a car to rent out a car. I just don't recommend it. I don't recommend it for a lot of reasons. In my experience, I have never seen a lease where you have unlimited miles, but I was told that there are leases out there that offer unlimited miles. The second reason why I'm against leasing out cars to rent them out is going to be because of the fact that when you lease a car, you have to return that car basically in the same condition you got it. When you rent out a car, you need to understand it's going to come back with scratches. It's going to come back with dings. It's going to be something on the car. It's going to go through things. So the objective of me saying I'm going to lease this car to rent it out, I'm against it. But if you can make it work, you can make it work. The next thing you can do is the cash cars. People ask me that too. They're like, if I buy a car in cash, can I rent this car out? The only thing that I would tell you transparently is most of the people that ask me about that are trying to buy rebuilt title cars or salvage title cars. You cannot rent those cars out, so I wouldn't even waste your time with it. I know the math, it looks like the math be mathing on it, because you could buy this car with 50,000 miles, it's salvaged for 7K, and you can rent this car and make your money back so fast. You can't rent out salvage title cars. It's a safety thing. So you also want to keep in mind, safety should be your biggest priority in this business. This is a high-risk business where you can risk getting sued if you don't do things the right way, and you don't want to be responsible for you went out and you decided to take the cheap route, get a cheaper car, you rent this car out, customer gets into an accident, airbags don't deploy, and now the customer is suing you for $2.5 million because of the fact that these airbags did not deploy. So after step one of you acquiring the car, everything else is, the ball will roll from there, right? How do you get your customers? Facebook Marketplace, Instagram, Facebook, regular Facebook, social media, TikTok. Social media is going to be a big one for you guys when it comes to the marketing side of things. So when it comes to getting your customers, it's really not the hardest thing in the world. I lost my train of thought. This is so weird not doing this. I'm not gonna lie, this is so weird doing this not on TikTok, because I don't have words in front of me that I could go off of. Like, I don't have nobody trolling me. It feels so weird just looking at the camera and talking. But anyway, so getting into the topic of 100,000 in 6 months, right? I'm gonna do some research, and I'm gonna do it as I'm talking to you guys to kind of walk you through how you could do this $100,000 in 6 months. But let's just say I'm gonna walk you through the scenario of you're gonna do private rentals, right? I'm gonna give you guys something. So what I'm gonna do is, first step is we gotta find a car. The first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go on Facebook and I'm gonna look for a car, right? So when I said you could buy your cars from Facebook, you could do that as well. But what I always tell people is make sure you have a mechanic. I would never tell you to buy a car from Facebook if you can't do the research. But for this specific model of trying to teach you how to make 100,000 in 6 months, I'm gonna use the cash car method of buying cars from Facebook Marketplace. Now, when I come on Facebook Marketplace, I'm gonna just click on vehicles and I'm gonna just see what they have. And then I'm gonna see if I see one that I think kind of would work. So one thing that I always will say is it's better to get the cash car, but it's not better to get the cash car if you don't have the mechanic. You gotta understand, with getting a car with a little bit more of higher mileage means you're gonna get a little bit more of a headache from this car than you would if you got a new one. But for the purposes of ROI, which is your return on investment, for the purposes of I'm trying to pull in 100,000 in 6 months, I'm gonna show you guys what you could do, right? So in front of me, I'm looking at a couple different cars. I'm trying to just pick one to use. Okay, I see a 2017 Chevy Malibu that's on Facebook Marketplace with 90,000 miles. They want 4,500, and it looks like the title is a clean title. So with this car, right, I want you to get your pen and paper and do a little bit of math with me. I got a 2017 Chevy Malibu in front of me. They want 4,500, right? Chevy Malibu 2017, off the top of my head, I can tell you right now, in New Jersey, because I'm in New Jersey, everywhere is different. But this is a car that I'm renting anywhere between 400 to 550 a week, depending on the season, depending on the customer. You guys always will ask, but Malcolm, how do you know how to price the cars? Listen, if you could get somebody to pay it, that's your price. Don't listen to the propaganda of, oh, well, nobody's going to pay me $100 a day to drive it. No, somebody will pay you $100 a day to drive that car. Likewise, somebody will pay you $450 and $550 to drive this car per week. Now, I know a lot of people have the next mindset will be, well, Malcolm, why would somebody pay me $450 a week for this car if I paid $4,500 for the car? That doesn't make sense. Why don't they go buy the car? Because they can't. That's what you got to understand, because they can't. They're paying for the convenience. I want you to stop thinking about the cars, and I want you to switch it around and think about an apartment, right? Why does a person rent an apartment instead of buying a house? We all know that paying $3,500 in rent is ridiculous. Why would a person pay $3,500 in rent when they could just go buy a house? If a person can afford to pay $3,500, why can't they buy a house? Why? Because for one, their credit might not be there for it. For two, they may not want to deal with home ownership. I'm gonna tell you guys, when I started my business, my mindset, I had two options. It was either I was gonna focus on buying a house or I was gonna focus on starting this business. I chose the business first, and because of that, when I made a lot of the mistakes, it cost me my credit. So therefore, I wasn't in a position to buy a house. But that doesn't mean I don't make money, because clearly I can afford to pay $3,500 in rent. So you gotta put it the same concept. Think about you right now. I'm sure many of you are watching me. Some of you may be homeowners, but some of you may not be homeowners. Ask yourself the same question. Why are you paying rent instead of buying a house? You may not be ready to buy a house yet. Same thing with the rental cars. Some people may not be ready to buy a car. I've had customers come across me before that. It's not that they have bad credit. I had a girl before, she was a single mother, and she literally told me, she was like, Malcolm, I'm not in a position right now where I can make a commitment to a payment. I like the idea of renting the car and paying this weekly, because if something happens with my income, I could just give you the car back and I could just, we're okay. She was like, I'm a single mother, I got multiple kids, and I don't like the stress of knowing that I'm obligated to a payment. At least with the rental car, she could give the rental car back. On top of that, I'm gonna give you another reason, because I know you guys really be like, Malcolm, nobody would pay that. Yes, they would. A lot of people like to keep up with the Joneses. So what I mean by that is, some people want to drive the newest cars, the nicest cars. They want to switch cars. They want to make it look like, you know, social media nowadays makes a person want to live a certain life. They want to live above their means. A lot of my customers will come rent. They'll struggle to make the payments, but they'll make sure that they pay it, and they always want to keep switching. They want the Mercedes. They want the BMWs. There are 1,000 reasons why a person would pay me $450 a week for a car. There are 1,000 more reasons why they pay me $550 a week for a car. There are 1,000 reasons why in this same car I could get $700 a week. So with this math, right, we're gonna go back to this car. I got a 2017 Chevy Malibu in front of me. This car is going for $4,500 on Facebook Marketplace. Sales. You want $4,500? I promise you, I'm leaving with that car for $3K. You want $4,500? I'm leaving with that car for $3K. So we're doing this math. We're gonna assume that I'm leaving with this car for $3K, and I'm gonna rent this car out for, I'm gonna go with the average number. I'm gonna go in the middle, and I'm gonna say $450 a week, right? $450 a week, and then if I'm multiplying this by 4, I'm gonna be bringing in $1,800 a month on this car. Now, if I paid $3,000 for this car, right, and I take $3,000 and I wanna go ahead and I wanna divide that by the $1,800 that I'm making in a month off of this car, it's gonna basically take me like 2 months to pay this car off, right? So let me make sure I'm doing this math right, because I'm doing all of this off of the fly. I didn't take notes, but 1,800 times 2, 3,600. So give or take 2-3 months, this car is paid off. Now, the reason why I'm saying give or take is because you also got to know, when you're buying a car like this, you want to make sure that it's good mechanic wise, right? So the next thing that I'm gonna do when I buy this car, I'm sending it to 3 different mechanics. On TikTok, I get a lot of backlash when people hear I use Firestone. I use Firestone because I think Firestone is good at pointing out issues. I don't think Firestone is the best mechanic, but Firestone is known for pointing, like, they're like taking a car to the dealership. You know, when you go to the dealership and you go for oil change, they start finding all of this other stuff wrong with the car. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for them to find something wrong with this car, so that this way, when I take it to my other mechanic, I could compare and contrast. So think about, like, if you ever go through a health issue and you have like some type of health concern and you go to the doctor, you don't want just one opinion, you want multiple opinions, right? Same thing with the cars. I want to get multiple different opinions on this car. I don't want one person, and then this way I could kind of decide, is this car worth it? Is there anything that this car is going to need that I'm going to need to put into it? So even though I paid $3,000 for this car, I'm going to assume $4,500 because $3,000 of that is going to go for me buying the car. I'm going to use the rest of that money to kind of go ahead and make sure my tires are good, my brakes are good, the car is good on the oil changes, get the inspections done. On top of that, I also want to go ahead and get my trackers done at the same time. So now that I know that the car is good, what I always say is put this in steps. Get the car looked at first, then buy the car. So tell the person, hey, listen, I want to buy the car today. You know, is it okay? Can you just swing it by my mechanic? I want them to take a look at it. If all is good, I'll buy the car. Cool, you buy the car. The next thing is going to be your tracking devices. Tracking devices should not be overwhelming as well, because tracking devices, you don't have to buy them all up front. You could literally do this on a basis where you're paying for it by month, right? So my trackers, I pay $13 a month for it. I don't pay for it, the customers pay for it. After the rentals, the revenue comes in, it comes out of the revenue. But now let's stick to the script of, I'm trying to get you to a place of where you're making $150,000 in 6 months. So if this car is bringing me in $1,800, right? $1,800 a month. If I'm saying I want to make $100,000 in 6 months and I divide this 100,000 by 6, basically I need to make 16 grand a month. So if I want to take the 16 grand, right, I'm gonna round up and just say 17 grand. I need to make 17 grand a month. And these numbers, if you break them down, I'm gonna be honest with you, $100,000 is not a lot of money. Like, coming from someone that used to work at McDonald's getting paid like $8, going to Walmart making like what? I was making like 16, 17 at one point. $100,000 is not a lot of money when you get into business. But 17,000 in a month, and if I'm saying this one car is making me 1,800, I divide that. Realistically, you only need 10 cars like this. So if you could get 10 cars, you could make the $100,000, and that's revenue. That's not profit. But $100,000 with 10 cars in 6 months is very simple. So what you could do is get into cars, like I told you, Facebook Marketplace. I would really recommend, when you're starting off, start with the people around you, realistically. See if the people around you are the type that you could bring them to the table and have a conversation with them and just say like, hey, listen, I'm gonna start this. I wanna bring you in on it. Let's both make money. You know what I'm saying? Can you help me out, right? If I'm looking at a car on Facebook Marketplace and I told you guys this car was $4,500, you mean to tell me you don't know one person in your circle that doesn't have $4,500? You mean to tell me you don't know one person in your circle that can't get a loan for $4,500? You mean to tell me you don't know somebody that owns a second car? We all got an uncle that drives multiple cars. It's time to sit down and start having conversations with them. And I'm speaking more so to the person that's watching me right now, that maybe you have bad credit, you got challenge credit, you're in a place where you're building your credit, or maybe you just can't get approved for whatever the reason is. I'm telling you right now, do not let that credit be the reason why you don't go out there and do this, because it's not about your credit, it's about the people around you. We got to understand, especially I feel like people that come from the minorities or the people like from the black communities and whatnot, we need to learn how to do like the Chinese people do. And I use this example every time. When you walk into the Chinese restaurant, you don't just see a bunch of random people in there. No, you got the daughter on the register, you got the mother on the phone, you got the dad on the grill, you got the son picking up the boxes. They work together. That's why when COVID happened, I always take people back to this. I always ask people, I'm like, when COVID happened, tell me one business that you saw didn't go out of business. And they always think to me, they're like, well, McDonald's and yeah, I think Walmart, we did okay. No, I want you to think on a smaller term, like the smaller businesses, like the Chinese restaurants. They never went out of business. Remember when there was the whole scandal about the Chinese restaurants, about they put rats, they put dogs, they put cats in and stuff like that, whatever the case may be. Why do you think they survived it? You think it was because they had so much money? You think it was because they had good social media platforms? First of all, I don't even know a Chinese restaurant that's on social media. You know why? Because they stick together. So for me, I kind of got to a place where, and I'm talking still to the people that got bad credit. If you don't have bad credit, this message may not necessarily be for you. But if you're in a situation where you're trying to do better, you got bad credit, you don't have the money, you don't have access to certain things, you need to put yourself around people that have that access. You need to find people that have the same mindset as you. And I promise you, it really won't be hard. It's just going to require you to have some uncomfortable conversations. But I tell you, it starts with the relatives. It starts with the friend groups that you have. You're telling me you graduated high school 5 years ago and you're still hanging out with all these people that you went to high school with. What can they do to help you? You don't think one of them has good enough credit? Then in my professional opinion, it's more of a time to just start really reevaluating, like, why am I keeping these people around me? Because I can't get on a phone call with somebody that wants to make an investment if I'm too busy on the phone call with somebody that wants to play Fortnite. I can't get on the phone with somebody that wants to make an investment if I'm too busy on the phone with an auntie that wants to borrow money. I can't get on the phone with somebody that wants to make an investment if I'm too busy going back and forth with my girlfriend. I can't make an investment. I can't get anybody to make an investment if I'm too busy on the phone going back and forth with somebody that's not talking about nothing. You guys got to get to a place where if you have bad credit, you got to realize bad credit, it comes from not only not paying stuff, but it also comes from the people that you keep around you. Because if you were around the right people, they'd be able to show you different strategies where you'd be able to repair your credit. I learned the hard way. I learned from people that I didn't even know was blood related to me, that little things, like, for example, first of all, just because it's on your credit doesn't mean you owe it, right? And what I mean by that is, when the first time I had to do my credit repair, because I told you guys, I messed my credit up in the beginning trying to run this business. I didn't know that they had to prove you owed it for it to stay on your credit. I didn't know that. I just thought, well, no, I did do that. That was my account. It's like, no, first they got to prove that you owe this. First they got to prove, you know, because whatever the case may be, they may do stuff wrong. And I'm not a credit repair expert, so I might be saying the wording wrong, but they got to prove that you owe it for one. And if they can't prove that you owe it, it has to come off your credit report, the Fair Credit Reporting Act or something like that. So there may be things on your credit where maybe you do actually owe it, but maybe it could come off. You never know. So you got to connect yourself with the right resources of people that can actually teach you more than Burger King discounts. So with that being said, $100,000 in 6 months is really not complicated at all. So the next thing that I wanted to touch on was the video that I showed you guys in the beginning. This was weird for me making this YouTube video because it's not the same having, like, I'm used to having words in front of me where people are talking to me. So this one is going to be a little short, but I wanted to do this quick story time. And all of my stories are meant to motivate you guys. And like, I want you to really learn from what I've been through and use it. You get what I'm saying? Like, the smart man learns from the other man's mistakes. And a lot of the things I'm gonna show you guys are just mistakes that I went through in my past. So this video is not something that I've ever showed on TikTok or any other social media platform. Basically, let's do the story time, right? So I think this was in 2022, 2023, way back when. Business was going good. I had about 5 different employees. You feel what I'm saying? It was a lot going on. I remember, if I remember correctly, I was going through a breakup at the time. So I was always in and out of the store. I never really stayed at the store. You know, I was always like in the midst of something. So I remember I wasn't there. I left early that day. And I only left 1 employee there. All of the other ones were off. You know, I had a team of them, but it was only 1 that was still working. And I think it was like an hour to closing. It was only an hour left until the store was about to close. So, you know, I was like, it's okay. He could be there by himself. We don't have nobody else scheduled to come. You know, he's a seasoned employee. He's been working with me for a while now. He'll be all right. Now, one thing that I'm going to tell you guys about this employee, he was always very dramatic. So anytime a customer would get upset, he would always be like the most dramatic person in the world. He always thought that some customer was trying to come at him or like trying to get him or unalive him. It was crazy. So anytime he said something to me or anytime he said something at all in general, I don't know how to say, like, we didn't take it necessarily 100% seriously. Like, we downgraded it because, you know, when you got like a grandmother or an auntie and they call you and they're like, oh, this is an emergency, Malcolm, 911, it's emergency. And whole time it's because they raised their cable bill. Like, I got an aunt like that. Like, she'd call and she'd be like, oh, 911, Malcolm, please call me. I mean, spam calling me. I get on the phone with her. She's upset because they raised the cable bill. So their definitions of an emergency is like, you got to kind of like tune it down a little bit. So in this situation, I tuned it down and I was just like, he called me. He's like, Malcolm, customer's on the way. He's going to kill me. I don't know what's going on. You need to get here right now. Call the police. So I'm like saying, I'm like, bro, he's so dramatic. So I don't know why. I was like, you know what? I'm going to just go. It's cool. So I get up and I go back to the store because, mind you, at the time I lived like maybe less than 10 minutes away. It wasn't that big of a deal. I got in the car. I rode down there. By the time I got there and I walked through the door, it was just nothing but screaming. Like, the guy that was in there, the customer that was upset, he was screaming. He was all over the place. And when I walked through the door, I was like, holy shit. Like, okay, so maybe he wasn't being too dramatic. Like, normally you get an upset customer here and there. They're going to be upset, but they're not like on this level. Like, I'm not going to lie to you guys. This was probably the first time I had ever dealt with a customer where I did feel like he did not care about going to jail. Like, he had the means, he had the resources, he had everything in his favor. So when I walked through the door, I walked in and, you know, I have an approach to dealing with people when they're upset. I really genuinely believe, like, most of the time when a person's upset, it's because they feel like no one can hear them, right? So my first step in my de-escalation tactic is I just want to listen to you for a second. I want to see what you're saying. I want to see if what you're saying is reasonable. I want to see if there's somewhere where I can meet you, bring you down a little bit, and work for a solution. Like, at the end of the day, as a business owner, all we do is solve problems all day. So it was about me I need to solve this problem with this guy real quick. Let me see where he is. Let me see where I can meet him. Let me see how I can fix this. So I walk in the door and automatically he's like, you Malcolm? Are you Malcolm? And I was like, oh shit. So one thing I would tell you guys about de-escalating someone when they're upset, you can't de-escalate them if you're the reason why they're escalated. So apparently this guy was already escalated because of me, because he had spoken to me. So let me give y'all the backstory. So when I was working, the phones was ringing, customers was calling, customer called, he was the customer that called me. He specifically had inquired about, I think it was like a Sentra or something, it was a smaller car. He inquired about a smaller car. He said he wanted to come pick it up today. So I let him know our policies. With my car rental company, all of my policies, they come from over time of things that I've experienced and I've been through. And one thing that I will say is, thankful to God, I've been successful enough to the point where I will have multiple customers come for one car. They will all say that they're coming, but it's like, you know, one may not come, then this one will come. I've had times where 3 customers came at the same time for the same car. That's really awkward. It's kind of like getting caught up. It's really awkward when they all come for the same car and you don't have but that one car. It's like, who do you give the car to? But okay, staying on the story, right? So now I realize that this guy's upset at me. So, and I don't really have nobody to call to say is my boss. So there's no way I'm about to de-escalate him. So I told him, I was like, listen, my brother, you know, you got to say to my brother and stuff, when you know, you got to calm him down. I was like, listen, my brother, I'm just trying to understand what's going on. Like, I'm trying to help you out. I'm here. Just work with me. Like, but there was nothing that was calming this man down. Like, when I tell you guys, no matter what I said, it seemed like he only got more upset. So I told him, like, listen, just walk me through what happened. But going to the backstory of it, right? He called for the car. He said he was on his way for the car, but I had specifically told him, I was like, listen, you need to put a $50 deposit on the car. I charge at my company, and this is my teaching moment for you guys. When you get into private rentals, for all of your customers, what I will recommend is you do reservation deposits. A reservation deposit is a non-refundable deposit that a customer will pay to secure their reservation. If you call me and you tell me you're coming for a car, we didn't have a conversation. If you call me and you say you know my family and you're coming to get a car, we didn't have a conversation. If you call me and say you know my ex and you're coming for a car, we did not have a conversation. Nothing matters to me until I get a $50 deposit. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, if you don't put this $50 reservation deposit, you can still come for the car, but just understand that if you get here, especially if you're coming from far away, that car may very well be gone. Now, for the customer side of it, I understand 2 things, right? Number one, there are a lot of scams online. There are a lot of people pretending to be a car rental company. There are a lot of people pretending that they work with cars and stuff. They'll get you to send the money and then they'll ghost you. I recognize that. That's why reservation deposits for me are 100% optional. I make them optional. I tell my customers up front. I teach all of my staff. Let the customer know that it is optional, but let them understand that they are risking this car being gone. I don't want them to come all the way here and then the car is gone. But we're a very busy company. We get phone calls all day. The second you hang up, another person could be on the line saying that they want the same car. So with that being said, I told him about the reservation deposit. He told me he didn't want to pay the reservation deposit. He was like, I'm giving you my word. Mind you, I don't know you, so why would I take your word? You know, I don't understand that concept. But he gave me his word. He's like, he's coming. I was like, listen, you can come, but like I said, the car may be gone already. So that at that point, I had left. So going back to now, I'm in the store with this guy and we're going back and forth and I'm talking to him. I can't seem to calm him down. Mind you, the car he wanted, it was already gone. Another customer had called, they took the car. I only had another car. It was an Accord. So he came in for, now mind y'all, don't quote me on this because I don't remember if this was the exact car, but I do remember that it was the price difference between the cars. He came in for a Sentra. We only had the Accord. It was a price difference and I wasn't willing to price match. The only time that I feel like, because I know you guys are probably like, but Malcolm, why wouldn't you just price match in that situation? Because I didn't want to price match because I knew I had another person that was probably coming for that Accord tomorrow. Why would I want to rent this car for less when I can rent this car for more tomorrow? And then on top of that, the only time I feel like I would price match is if it's my error. I will only price match if it's my error. So had I taken a deposit from this guy and they made the mistake and they rented out the car anyway, I would have given the car, it would have been price match. That's just good customer service. You can't do that. But because we did let him know, listen, you could come in, this car may be gone. He still came in. You could still rent a car, but you got to pay the price difference. I can't price match the Accord for the Sentra. And to be honest with you, I think it was like a $100 difference. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember what the prices was. So let's stay on the story, right? So I got to get to the part of how my father threw me under the bus. So this guy has escalated. This guy is not coming down. This guy is screaming. He's basically out his own mouth. He sized the whole store up. Like he told my employee, you guys saw in the video, he was like, you're a one-man staff. It's just you in here. So he already was on 100. He started making statements to me along the lines of like, oh, well, if I'm not leaving with a car, I'm going to jail. Stuff like that. A lot of the times the customers, sometimes there's a difference to me between when they're upset and when they're actually serious. Like I know when, I don't know how to say it. Like I know when they're actually upset and I know when they're just talking. I get it. No, this guy wasn't just talking. I will tell you transparently, he meant everything that he said out of his mouth. So now I got to the point where I've made it behind the desk, right? I feel a little bit better because I made it behind the desk And the desk was a counter. So the only thing that was protecting me right now was this counter. So I told him, like, let me sit down, let me see what I got. I made my employee get up. The only thing going through my head is, I need to make sure my employee is okay. Like, I don't want him getting attacked. I don't want him getting hurt. Let me remove him from the picture. And like, I'm hoping in his mind, he knows like to go call 911. Like you need to call somebody at this point. So I told him, I was like, get up. Like, let me sit here. Let me, like, let me talk to the guy. I was like, you go in my office. I told him this. I think I was like, go in my office and check and see if it's another car somewhere, But I was trying to get him to go in private so he could call 911. He didn't get the hint. So I'm sitting at the computer, I'm looking. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what do I do in this situation? So I told him, I was like, oh, I looked at the computer. Mind you, it wasn't shit on my computer screen. I was like, oh, I think I got another car in the back somewhere. And then I looked at my employee. I was like, did you know about the other car? Why is my employee not catching the hint and playing along? He's like, what car? What, bro, in my head, I'm like, yo, play along. I'm trying to get us out of a situation because we're in this store. The guy is standing by the exit. There's no way out. There's no way around him. When I'm talking about this was a big dude, like, it's like, what am I about to do with this guy? Okay, fine, right? So go back. He's not playing along. He doesn't get it. But then I had to overtalk him. I was like, oh, yeah, you don't know about that car. I forgot. I didn't even put that one in the system. I see it on here, though. We got the other car, in the back and whatnot. So I told the guy, I was like, my brother, give me a second. Let me check and see. I'm about to, we going to figure this out. You all right. Don't even worry about it. So now I go outside. So I call the police. I call 911. No one's answering. Like, when I tell you legit, this is why another lesson, when you open your business, I want you to really think about, hear me clear when I say this. I want you to really think about if you want to put your business in the hood. I get it. I get it. But you got to think about that because police response time in high-risk business is extremely essential. So fast forward, I went outside, I called the police, nobody's answering. I got so desperate, guess who I had to call? I had to call my father. Ladies and gentlemen, I had to call my father. So I called him. I gave him a quick rundown of the situation or whatever, and I told him if he could get some officers over there, it'd be greatly appreciated. I got to give him his credit where his credit is due. His response time was immaculate. His response time, ladies and gentlemen, it was immaculate. I think he got there in less than 5 minutes. I got to give him that. For somebody that drives very slow, he got there in less than 5 minutes. I got to give him his credit. I got to be fair before I tell y'all the rest of the story. He got there. He was there. And it felt so nice that, like, what I was looking for was someone, because you got to understand, it's not about being scared or whatever. I'm teaching you guys de-escalation right now. When a person is escalated and you're the reason that they're escalated, you cannot calm them down most of the time. So if I upset a customer, I can't be the one to calm the customer down, right? The only thing, in most situations, the only thing that will calm this customer down is to know that there's somebody above me. So even now, like, as I run my business, if there's ever a point where a customer may be upset at me, even if I didn't do anything, I am perfectly fine with switching roles with my employee and letting the customer think that this person is in charge. I do it all the time. I do it. Sometimes, like, if you watch my TikTok live, sometimes, like, people watch me and they're like, oh, why is he pretending like he's not in charge? Because it's a de-escalation tactic. It's not something that you would understand. But now that you watch my YouTube video, make sure y'all subscribe. If you didn't subscribe right now, you got to make sure you subscribe to the platform. So can you take a second and click it won't cost you nothing. Android users included. Click the subscribe button. But you got to understand that I can't calm this person down if I was the one to upset them. Just like for the people on here that's going through relationship problems, the person that broke your heart cannot be the person to repair it. It's just, it can't happen that way. So I needed someone to come in like that could pretend to be my boss, that could de-escalate this man. My father it worked out. He was the perfect person. He came in, and one thing that I will say that my father does a lot when he comes in, he likes to make it like he's, I don't know if I want to say it like that. He likes to make it like he's somebody, like he's above somebody. So when he came in, automatically, without me even saying it, he started acting like he was my boss. And he put the little tone on and whatnot. And it felt relieving because he was able to, I don't know what other word to use, pause. He was able to penetrate this guy's perception of whatever towards me to make him think now he was in charge. Do y'all follow what I'm saying? Drop a flame in the comments if y'all follow what I'm saying. He was able to make this man think he was in charge. And I was okay with it. I should go with it. So he had the guy thinking that he was my boss. And eventually, as time progressed, he went on to say he was my father, right? So then the guy was like, basically, so why you got your son out here operating business like this? If I told him I was on my way, why is he not taking my word over some $50? So in the customer's defense, he went on to just basically explain like, oh, well, you know, there's a lot of scams going on. You know, he could have been just trying to get me to send $50. He get 10 people to do this a day. You know, he's making a killing, and then he ghosts me. Now, in my mind, I wouldn't say this to a customer, but in my mind, I always felt like, especially for this guy, what I want $50 for? Like, I don't know if, and then mind you, the guy came from New York. You'll hear him say it in the video. He came from New York. If you came from New York and you was coming from 3 hours away, I mean, you like, in my mind, it's like, bro, you $50. You know, I could see if I was trying to get customers to pay the whole rental up front, like, oh, send me the whole $500 for the week. Now, no, I don't do that. It's just $50. I do that because I want my customers to be able to be secure, to know, like, this is not a scam. It's only $50. You know, the worst that you're risking is $50. It's a $50 reservation deposit. But then again, I do understand it. It's no shade. It's no type of way to nobody. I'm not trying to say nobody's. No, I'm just saying it's $50. So if you knew you were coming from 2-3 hours away to pick up a rental car, I am literally telling you on the phone, like, listen, if you don't put this deposit, somebody will take the car. And you come and the car is gone. How are you going to get mad at us? The car is gone. Somebody else already took the car. So going down the lines of the story, at this point, my father is talking to the guy. He's trying to de-escalate him. And it was like every time the guy got more upset, my father started to like back down a little bit, but then he went back up, but then he backed down, but then he went back up, but then he backed down. So as my father's talking to him, I'm in the office, and now I'm trying to get the police on the phone. I finally get the police on the phone. They allowed me to know that they were going to have an officer respond. I think another 7 minutes went by, and before you know it, the officers finally came. As I was reflecting on this video, and as I was watching these videos, I found it so funny the way my father really threw me under the bus, because first when he was talking to the customer, he first made it like he was my boss.
Yeah, I get it. And I already know when I go out the door.
First of all, just so you know, it's not my employee, it's my son.
Okay.
Okay, that's my son.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm trying to get a better understanding of what's going on here. That's all.
I just told you.
That's all.
There's no more. There's nothing else to say.
But I hear you. But you haven't even given Malcolm a chance to say.
Why am I letting him talk when I'm the person that just told him that, bro?
But then as the customer got more upset, he flipped it back and he was like, well, that's Malcolm's decision. It's like, wait a minute, no. You're supposed to be playing like you're my boss. What do you mean it's Malcolm's decision?
Don't get me. It's the same thing.
Which car was it?
The Honda Accord.
Where's the Honda?
I got it in the back.
Come on, bro.
Now, how long is the rental for?
A week.
But when they make threats of putting their hands on people,
Brody,
don't even bother with it.
Word to my daughter, bro. Word to my daughter, bro. I tell any nigga that made me just fucking come all the way this far. If you feel like you right, bro, it's because you weird and you don't understand that balance gotta happen for you to understand what somebody telling you. How old are you, homie?
Right, but when I
How old are you?
So let me say something. When I walked through that door, you was screaming. I told you, give me a second.
No,
let me see how
I was screaming on your man because your man didn't. He said, I heard you, yeah. But we did it anyway because that's policy. Homie, $50 fucking. I'm telling you, yo, bro, I'm coming from mad far. I'm telling you. So it's like you picked the $50 deposit over what I'm saying.
Then he flipped it back again. Now he's in charge. Then he flipped it back again. So then he told him, he's like, let me talk to Malcolm for a second. He came, he talked to me. I will never forget this day.
But is there any way, let's take all that side. Let's say the brother, I understand. He excited. I'll be the same way. Is there any way that we can resolve this and give him the secondary car for the week?
My solution is I will pay for him to go back. But I cannot drop that price. No, I can't. I already dropped that car is more than $682. It's a lot more. I dropped it to $682.
They don't have a car in that price range?
I teach it. He don't got nothing. All he has is Mercedes.
This is the dude I originally called to get to him.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying? See, this is why I don't even want you to talk. Because you're gonna tell half the story. See, this is what you guys are so prone to doing. You're so prone to selling it halfway. I called him and I told him, yo, bro, I need a vehicle on it.
I will never forget this day. But my father pulled me to the side. He's like, Malcolm. He was like, this guy is really upset. And, not for nothing, I can understand where he's coming from. And, he came all the way here for the car. And, for whatever the reason is, y'all don't have the car no more. I was just, I was just kind of like wondering, maybe we should just give him the car. What?
I'd rather just give him the car and see how it works. I never know. He may be a good customer. I don't want to have to give him the car.
What the, huh? I'm like listening to him and I'm like, you know what? I'm a very objective person. I could hear both sides. I'm very reasonable.
How can I help you?
He came in here in the car can't rent him a car. He said he's gonna go back to jail. That's your job. I don't want no problems with him or anything like that. I did offer. I said, listen, I'll pay for your ride to go back home. You can't rent the car, and that's that.
Okay. What you got?
I'm ready.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, there was no
Let me ask you a question.
competition, no battle, or nothing like
Let me
that.
ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Look at my address, please. Look at my ID. Look at my address. See that address? What am I doing out here complaining? What am I doing out here?
We can't tell them to bring you a car.
Hold on, real quick. I'm having a conversation, right? What you don't do is you don't make somebody come all the way out here for no reason, right?
Yeah.
When you do something, when you're doing business, you don't renege on stuff and then tell me at the end of the day, oh yeah, pay this or just I'm gonna turn you around, and then try to offer me $80 to get in the cab and go home. You don't do that.
I understand that.
I just traveled on a bus, bro. I canceled my car insurance today, right?
Okay.
So if I'm asking him, I'm telling him over the phone, yo, bro, I got a debit card, yo, it's far, yo, it's 3 hours, it's this, it's that. Why try to play me? Why take $50 over a customer that's coming all the way from Queens? Would you not be upset?
Of course.
Would you not go back and forth? Would you not say things that to get you riled up?
Okay.
I'm asking a question,
All right.
right?
I get that.
So when you mad, hold on, but when you say you upset, right? Being upset don't come with rules, bro. It don't come with shit. You want to say things because you in the moment. I'm tired. I am mad, bro. You're telling me to give you $80 more.
Hey, my wife told me to give you money.
Because that's how he's saying that. That's what he wants for the car, $682. But then you tell him you want to give me $8 to go home.
Oh.
That don't make sense.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So if I give you $950, all you're doing is just giving me the $80 you would give me to get in the cab, just get the credit to the car. Let me go make some money. Let me bring the car back, and that's it. Why have me come out here? Why have me come out here for no reason? Why? And then switch what you say.
So
I'm consistent what I'm talking about. He's not consistent what he's talking about.
So now this is what we're here for. We're pretty much here for if they're not giving you their business. I understand you're upset. You know, that's something maybe you can go on website, like a review on their behalf, on their conduct of your business. I know
That's political. That's bullshit.
I get it.
What do you mean? Let's just give him the car. Like, can y'all tell me right now? Would y'all have given this man a car? I want y'all to understand that this man already threatened my employee, and for me, it's one thing to be upset, but when you start making threats against someone, that's when I'm done. Like, I won't do business with you. I always tell anyone I ever hire, I don't hire you to be disrespected by anybody. I don't hire you to be disrespected by me. I don't hire you to be disrespected by none of my joint venture partners. I don't hire you to be disrespected by no employee. I don't hire you to be disrespected by the landlord. I don't hire you to be disrespected by your coworkers. I don't hire nobody to be disrespected because I used to work at a job before where I know what it feels like to be disrespected. I know what it feels like to be belittled. Your voice matters. And one thing that I'm big on, even with my employees, even if they say the wrong thing, the way my mother raised me, if you do something wrong, I will defend you publicly, but privately, I'm gonna have a conversation with you to a certain extent, right? So in a situation where even like if my employee, if I felt like he said something wrong to the customer, I'm gonna defend you publicly because I'm not about to belittle you. I'm not about to make you feel bad because I need you. You're a part of my team. But privately, I will have a conversation with you and I'll let you know like, yo, that was wrong. Next time I need you to do this better. Don't let that happen again. You follow what I'm saying? So now this man already disrespected my employee. He threatened me. He disrespected me. He already told me he's not scared to go to jail. Why would I want to rent a car to somebody like this? My father goes, oh, well, you got to understand this man is frustrated. I understand his frustration, but his frustration should not allow him to come in here and think that he could disrespect me, disrespect my employee, and make death threats. Like, I don't understand. I've been upset before, and I will never allow someone being upset to justify why they do certain behaviors because I've been upset before and I've never threatened to put my hands with somebody. I've been upset before. I've never yelled at somebody. I've been upset before. I've never mentioned anything about how I'm not scared to go to jail. I understand the man was upset. He was passionate and heated of the moment. But now to my father, what I was telling him from the business owner standpoint, listen to this. Check this out. If this is what he's doing before he got the car, what do you think he's gonna do when it's time to bring the car back? Like, I don't understand. Like people don't, we gotta have a little bit of critical thinking skills. He's doing this before we put him in the car. What is he gonna do when it's time to bring the car back? The man already told you he took 3 hours to get here. The man already told you he took 2 hours to get here. If it took him that long to get here, what do you think he's gonna do when it's time to bring the car back? I'm gonna have to go to New York and get the car. Listen, personally, I don't want money that bad. Even when it comes to the joint ventures, I let my partners know up front. You might be able to take your car and give it to somebody else to make you more money, but it's not gonna last long. You know why? Because they might make you, 2 times what I make you, but it'll only last you for 2 months, because the third month they're gonna have to call and tell you that that car was totaled. The third month they're gonna have to call and tell you that that car was impounded by the police. That car is now evidence and you can't get it back. And I wanna knock on wood when I say this, but I've never had a situation where the police have impounded my car and kept it for months at a time. There has been times when my cars have gotten taken by the police, but I've always managed to get the cars back because I haven't had situations be so serious. But these are the little things that they don't tell you about this business, right? You could rent to the person that will take a Honda Accord and pay you $200 a day. But what comes with dealing with a person that's paying $200 a day? I'm gonna tell you what comes with dealing with a person that pays $200 a day. How is a person making money to pay you $200 a day for a Honda Accord? Can we do the math? What's 7 times 2 and add to 0? What's 7 times 2? Like, let's do the math, right, real quick. If a person, let's just round up with taxes and say they're paying you $214 a day, it's 7 days in a week. This person's paying you $14.98 a week. Now let's multiply this by 4, right? That's damn near $6,000. So if I'm gonna round up and I'm gonna do $6,000, and I'm gonna assume this person is working a stable, legitimate job, working 40 hours a week, right? So 40 hours a week, I said that's $6,000 a month, right? So if I'm gonna take 6,000 and I'm gonna divide this by 4, so this person is making $1,500. Basically, they had to be making $1,500 a week, right? So at $1,500 a week, if I'm dividing this by 40 now, saying they work 40 hours in a week, this person would basically have to be making, wait, I did that wrong, hold on. If the person's making $1,500, right? Do the math with me too. Make sure I'm doing my math right. That's why I'm using a calculator, but don't say nothing to me. I graduated, I got my high school diploma. $1,500 in a week, working 40 hours a week. This person would have to be making $3,750. You mean to tell me that this man is making $3,750? Now, mind you, that's just to pay the rental car. What about rent? What about food? What about living? So basically, this person would have to be making like $50 an hour. Why would a person making $50 an hour agree to pay me $200 for a rental car? Because y'all like to call me racist when I say certain things, but a person making that type of money has to be educated. Ain't no educated person about to pay me $200 a day to drive no Honda Accord. They go buy their own car. That's ridiculous. I'm sorry. It'll never happen. It'll never happen, because if they're making that type of money, they could just go anywhere and rent a car. Why don't they just go to Enterprise and get a cheaper car? Why would they give me $200 a day for a car? So this is the type of conversations that I have to have, even with my joint venture partners. Sometimes they'll be like, yeah, but Malcolm, I was talking to this other guy, and he told me that if I give him the car, he could make me like 2 times what you're telling me. He probably could, and I can make you that too, but I won't promise you that the car won't be totaled after the 3rd month. So do you want to make a lot faster, or you want to make a little bit less over a longer period of time? You follow what I'm saying? So these are the things that they don't tell you about. So now going back to the story time with this man throwing me under the bus. So now he asked me for my permission, basically, if we could just rent the car to the guy, if we could just let him go. I told him no. I was like, it's not happening. I'm not doing it. Flat out, no. There's no circumstance where I will let this guy leave with a car. He's like, but Malcolm, I don't know what he's going to do if you don't give him the car. I don't care what he's going to do. That's what we call the police for. He said he's not scared to go to jail. That's what we call the officers for. I run a car rental company. I'm not with any of the street altercations. I'm not with none of that stuff. I run a business. I'm a business owner. All that stuff he's talking about, he could deal with the officer for that. So now he goes back out and basically he's like, well, I'm going to try to stall him until the cops get here or whatever the case may be. So the cops come. The cops make it there. When I tell you this man folded on me, it was the funniest thing in the world. Like I want y'all watch the video. Did y'all see how he just basically, like, he was like, he said, he was like, yeah, it's no problem here, officers. I'm gonna get Malcolm because, Malcolm is the one that called you guys, but, there's no issues here at all. And then you could watch him in the video just like slip out and leave. He didn't even make sure I was okay. He just left. Do you know he called? I think it was like the next day he called me. He's like, yeah, how'd everything work out with that situation? So you snuck out and left me here with the guy? But he was like, yeah, because the police officers was there. You was good. You didn't need me no more. I'm good. But yeah, that was the funniest story in the world for me. Because one thing that I had to really fixate on is I got to give him his credit for coming. But it's like, do I really still give him his credit? Because the way you flipped it back on me, like you were supposed to be there. You were supposed to defend. You were supposed to help. And then you flipped it back and you put it all back on me. So the situation basically ended with the guy knowing that I was the owner of the company. I was the one that was making the decisions. And he basically told me if he ever sees me again in the streets that he was going to, quote unquote, well, I don't remember what he said word for word, but it was something along the lines of that I basically wouldn't be able to, I basically wouldn't be able to walk anymore, and that my mother is gonna have to be crying or something along the lines of that. So yeah, that was my little story time, and sometimes I regret telling you guys the story times because I'm scared that the story times are going to make you guys not like or want to start the business. But I want you to remember what I said in the beginning. I want you to take everything I've been through and I want you to learn from it. So in this situation, I guess the learning lessons for me was, for one, see, because here's the thing, when I reflect on it, everything was explained to this man the right way. And we told him about the reservation deposit. We walked him through what our process was. I think the learning lesson for me is to realize that you can't make every customer happy, but you gotta make sure that with your policies, if I were to be able to give myself some constructive criticism, since then I made it a little bit more publicly, right? Like my policies, even though I told the guy on the phone, I also make sure that now it's posted on my website, it's posted on my Instagram, it's posted on my Facebook. You want to make sure that stuff is very out there and very like in front of the customer's face, for one. So from that, that was the constructive criticism that I was able to give myself. As far as anything else, I don't know, y'all tell me, but I just think that was just one of those situations where you just legitimately cannot make everybody happy. And sometimes I guess being extremely busy could be really good, but I guess it could also be a little bad too, because when you have so much customers, it's like, damn, like that car really was gone within the next 5 minutes of you talking on the phone. But I guess another constructive criticism thing that I could have done, I could have had my employee call him and let him know that the car was rented. But the thing is, what also makes that a little challenging is so many people call on a regular saying that they're coming to rent a car and they don't come. Could you imagine if I had to call back every single person, like, hey, I know you called early about this car, you said you might be on the way, but yeah, the car got rented. Now, it'd be crazy. So that was a little story time for you guys. But like I said, $100,000, just to recap, is not gonna be the hardest thing in the world. For your homework assignment, all I want you to do right now is focus on how you can get the car. I don't want you to worry about the parking. I don't want you to worry about where you're gonna park the car. I don't want you to worry about how you're gonna get the car. Just let's start one step at a time. How could you get this car? For those of you that are new to the channel, there is a link in the bio for the car rental course, and I will be offering one-on-one mentorships. My one-on-one mentorships will only be for 10 people at a time. So if it is something that you're interested in, make sure that you reach out to me. In a sense, I do like an interview screening process for the mentorships because I want to make sure that you're ready for it, right? A lot of people, they're not ready to execute. And if I'm going to dedicate my time to train you, I want to make sure that you're actually ready to get out there and do what's necessary, because I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to be like anybody else that does coaching. I will take you to a place with my coaching that will really have you sitting there like you would think that I'm crazy. But sometimes I will tell you transparently, you might have to cut a cousin off. You might have to let go of a boyfriend. You might have to let go of a girlfriend. You might have to put some distance between the relationship with your mother. You might have to. You know, if you're really saying that what you want to do is you want to learn how to make $100,000 in 6 months, you know, you don't got a college degree, you don't want to go to school, you're not interested in working for somebody else, it really requires you to get your mental to a certain place. It's not about a secret cheat code, because everything that I'm going to teach you guys about running a car rental company, you could find it from a Google search. But what you can't find from a Google search is understanding more so where you got to get your mental to be. Understanding that everybody that was around you at one point doesn't mean that they have to stay forever, including relatives. Everybody, you know, around you, some people want you to do good, but they don't want you doing better than them. So you got to get yourself to a place where you understand these principles and understand that the person that may not want you to do better than them, it could be your mother, it could be your father, it could be your brother, it could be your sister. And you need to realize it quickly so that you can remove yourself from these people, places, and things, so you can get yourself to a place where you're making the money that you want to make. Because I'm telling you, if you really go out there and you look, there are people out there making $100,000 in a day. There are people making $100,000 in 2 days. There are 100,000 people. I mean, there's 100,000 people making $100,000 in minutes. There's no reason why you're not doing it, other than the simple fact that you haven't allowed yourself to really tap into where you are mentally, to get yourself to a place of understanding that everybody that may have been for me at one point may not be for me anymore. You know, those friends from high school, let them be in high school. How long ago did you graduate high school now? Maybe you could leave them alone, and you understand what I'm saying? Go make you some new friends. Instead of saying, these are my friends from high school, say, these are my friends from my business club. These are my friends from the golf course. You know, those are more of the flex than saying, these are my friends from high school. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, if you really wanna look at all of your friends, are they doing what you're saying that you wanna do? You got friends right now that you know wouldn't even have the attention span to make it this long in a YouTube video. They'd be bored from watching this. Maybe it's time for you to remove yourself, you know, and it doesn't have to be a bad thing. Sometimes, listen, I have cut friends off before, and it wasn't because anything went wrong. And with cutting them off, it's not something where you have to do like a public announcement where it's like, hey, listen, you know, I love you, and but I gotta cut you. You don't have to even let them know. You can silently remove yourself. Every so often, I go on my Instagram page and I might see somebody that pop up and they be like, you know what? I don't even want to see this no more. It's not feeding what I'm trying to do. So I'm gonna just silently unfollow this person. I'm gonna silently block this person. I don't want to think about this person. And it's not that anything bad happened. If I see you, hey, what's up? How you been? You know, what's going on? Like, you know, you can still dive them up, talk to them the same. But for me, my mind, my mental, it needs to be clear. I need to be able to think. So if I start realizing that you're just holding up space, I gotta remove you because I need that space to put someone else there. You know, I've run across people that want to make investments, and I'm telling you, your first investor, it might not be somebody that's blood related to you. It might be a complete stranger, but that's perfectly fine. But you won't get to the place of meeting that perfectly new stranger that wants to make an investment if you're surrounding yourselves by a whole bunch of people. I want you to picture yourself as a person and there's a whole bunch of people around you, right? Legitimately, picture you standing here and there's a whole group of people that you know that are surrounding you, right? But outside of this circle, they formed a circle and they're all locked onto each other around you. But then outside of that are people that want to make investments, that want to make money, that got a boat, that got a yacht, that want to do this, that want to do that. How do you get to those people when these ones are locked around you? You got to move them so you could kind of see what's going on outside of the circle, and just be open to the idea that strangers will be your first investors. Strangers will be your first customers. So with that, make sure you guys stay tuned. We're going to do a new video once a week, and then I want you guys to drop it in the comments. Let me know what you want to talk about. If there's anything to do with the car rental company, I'm going to start focusing those on my YouTube videos. And then, like I said, check out the resources that I have, the link that's in my bio for the free ebook as well as the car rental course. The car rental course will give you access to everything from the systems that I use, the A to Z process of how to start. You start here, you start here, you start here. I don't care if you got good credit, bad credit, no credit. You just got to be willing to make a couple of changes in your life that are going to feel uncomfortable, but it's only because you've been comfortable in uncomfortable situations for too long. You should not allow yourself to get comfortable in uncomfortable situations. Therefore, if you want to start a car rental company and you're telling me the reason why you don't want to start or the reason why you can't start is because of your credit, I don't do credit repair, but I will help you repair your credit from the simple ways of just putting yourselves around people that can help you with it, from the simple ways of putting yourself around people that are not looking to keep taking from you, but are looking to add value to your life. So until the next video, you guys, I will talk to you then.